It was the largest single attack on Australian soil, but for many, the bombing of Darwin remains a silent legacy.
Nobody says anything about what happened in Darwin, and Darwin was a battle. Ask the blokes that were in the ships, they're being pounded. And as far as I'm concerned, the name should be the Battle for Darwin.
Jack Mulholland is one of few surviving veterans from that day. He was 20, an anti-aircraft gunner with the 14th Heavy Anti-Aircraft Battery, when Japanese bombs rained out of the morning sky.
Ships blowing up, oil on the harbour alight, blokes trying to swim. I had a fantastic view of the harbour, and it's a battle which has never been acknowledged. It wasn't hard to imagine they were enemy, because most planes we'd ever seen in one time were 10. There were 188 in this group that was coming in.
And this man was in one of those planes, Kaname Harada, a Japanese Zero fighter pilot who escorted the bombers onto their Darwin targets.
Naturally, I was expecting that some Australian interceptors would be waiting for us over the port, but actually we didn't see any at all. So we maintained our altitude and provided air cover, while our dive bombers attacked the ships without much resistance.
Overall, 253 people that we know about were killed. The Japanese, it was a very successful attack as far as they were concerned. They sank at least 4 principal vessels in Darwin Harbour, and for the loss of only 10 of their aircraft. The intention of the attack was to terrify Australia and its allies and make sure that they stayed in Australia. Darwin was going to be a base for operations, naval and air operations, against the war that was raging in Southeast Asia.
While warships were sinking and the town was left reeling, much of Darwin's civil and military population fled south. The rest of Australia remained oblivious to the number of dead and the extent of the damage.
I don't think that there was as much censorship as we popularly believe, but it was a desperate time during the war, and if the reporting of the attacks on Darwin was sort of swallowed up by news of the wider war.
Mr Monera says Australia's focus on fighting the war in Europe left Darwin largely unprepared, with resources scarce and the gunners woefully undertrained.
So, and we never had any practice on the guns. We never had a shoot or anything, so we didn't know what the guns sounded like.
I did see some anti-aircraft gunfire from the Australian ground forces, but as we were flying at some 4,000 to 5,000 metres, and as I knew that anti-aircraft guns of that period were not that accurate, it didn't overly bother me. As a result, I was able to focus on providing air cover for the bombers.
It was a bit like running the 100 yards in the Olympic Games without ever having raced.
A race barely recognised till now, as 70 years later, Australia finally pauses to officially remember the bombing of Darwin. Alexandra Fisher, ABC News.